This is the last video in the series where I am breaking down the most standout shrubs, trees, and perennials in my garden. This video is all about the shrubs in my garden that stood out to people and tips that I have for growing them successfully. If you're looking for suggestions on perennials, both sun and shade or compact trees, check out the other video in my series for perennials and compact trees that stood out in the garden. This video is going to be all about shrubs, and I'm going to do a little bit something different for this video. Since this was the American Hydrangea Society tour, I'm going to put in the top 5 hydrangeas that stood out. Then I want to throw in 3 additional bonus shrubs that aren't hydrangeas but did get a lot of questions in the garden. This little guy right here was definitely the favorite amongst all of the people that toured the garden. This is actually an early blooming panicle hydrangea. This is early evolution hydrangea from Monrovia. To me, it doesn't look like a panicle hydrangea at all. It almost looks like a lace cap because the bloom structure is very open and overall the shrub is just very elegant and very dainty. Also incredibly crazy to see a panicle hydrangea blooming this time of year, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Besides all of that I just mentioned, this hydrangea also stays 2 feet tall and wide. So this is an incredible, almost front of the border type plant that will bloom for a really long time, be interesting for a really long time, and look absolutely adorable. The trick with Monrovia plants is sometimes they're kind of hard to find since they don't really do direct-to-consumer sales. I can't point you to a website to order them from, so I think the best course of action is to go to your local garden center and ask them to order this for you. That way we can get it more and more available in the market because this is truly a special hydrangea that I cannot wait for you to enjoy in your garden. This is also a hydrangea that blooms on new wood, so you don't really have to worry about pruning, and a late frost isn't going to take away your blooms. Panicle and smooth hydrangeas are becoming one of my favorite hydrangeas because a late frost will not get rid of your blooms, and I don't like to cover my hydrangeas anymore. I'm just kind of letting nature work its magic. So this is a hydrangea you don't have to worry about and a really cool one to add to your garden. The second most asked about hydrangea was this one behind me. This is Summer Crush hydrangea. It is a macrophylla or mophead hydrangea. And the reason that everyone was asking me about this hydrangea was the color. This has some of the most intense, beautiful coloring of the mophead hydrangeas that I'm growing right now, and it's just absolutely stunning. This is the more compact variety that I think stays under or around 4 feet tall and wide, and the coloring on this hydrangea is just a very deep special hydrangea. And this one is a much easier hydrangea to find. I see Summer Crush hydrangeas sold everywhere. I think I even saw them this year in Costco. So if you can get your hands on one, I would highly recommend it because they're just fabulous. The third hydrangea that I got a lot of questions about was this Ruby Slippers hydrangea behind me. And the reason that I got so many questions about it wasn't because it was some special, new, or unique variety, but really the questions were around how I got this hydrangea to be so full. And yes, while this is an oak leaf hydrangea and oak leaf hydrangeas do not require any pruning, the reason, and I guess the secret as to why this is so full, is because I do prune on this hydrangea every year. The trick to pruning on a hydrangea that blooms on old wood, like an oak leaf or like a mophead, is to prune at the right time. I make sure that all of the hydrangeas that I'm pruning that bloom on old wood, I don't touch them after August. So the latest that I'm going to prune these back is by late July, but what pruning does is that it forces the shrub to branch, and that's what you need to get this full shrub. Otherwise, what happens overall is that the majority of the new growth on these hydrangeas are going to be towards the top, and you create this almost leggy structure where the bottom is kind of bare and the top is more full. And that's perfectly fine if that's the look you're going for, but if you want a full bushy looking hydrangea, what I recommend doing is once these blooms start to age, basically once they lose that beautiful pink color and start looking brown, I like to cut them back, I don't know, about this much. I make sure that it's a nice rounded, mounded shape. Any long stragglers I remove. Everything else I'll cut back by about a foot or so. It's not an exact science, but that causes the branching and the fullness that you see here today. So I wanted to point that out to you in case you're struggling with a hydrangea that's looking a little leggy and you want to bring back the volume. That's how you do it. The fourth most common question that I got was, how do I keep these Annabelle hydrangeas so upright? And the secret is that these are not Annabelle hydrangeas. They are a newer, more upright variety from First Editions. This is Flowerful Hydrangea, and I didn't do a thing to them other than plant them last year. This is clearly a hydrangea that doesn't need staking thanks to its super thick stems. These stems are keeping this hydrangea upright even after the crazy amount of storms that we've had here in Atlanta. Crazy winds, crazy rains, and weeks of that. So this is a really incredible hydrangea. In general, I really love the arborescens or smooth hydrangea category. These are hydrangeas that are native to the United States. They perform really well and they bloom on new wood, which means that even if you have a late spring frost, this is the type of hydrangea that you won't have to cover. The arborescens type of hydrangeas are really hard to mess up. It's almost impossible not to get blooms from arborescens type hydrangeas. The main issue with them is they were floppy as all get out, but Flowerful has really changed the game with this hydrangea that's incredibly upright. It fixes all that floppiness. So there's nothing negative that I can really say about this hydrangea. It blooms the same time as mop head hydrangeas, but if you have a late frost, this will bloom for you where your mop head hydrangeas may not. And now with this introduction of Flowerful, you can have an arborescens type hydrangea without getting a floppy hydrangea in your garden that you have to figure out how to stake or support. And this is the last hydrangea that got a whole lot of questions and a whole lot of love. This is Fuji Waterfall Hydrangea. It is a lace cap hydrangea. It is in the macrophylla category. This is a hydrangea that blooms on old wood, and if you do get a late frost, it will get sapped. But this hydrangea just looks so magical. The bloom shape is just extra special. These blooms right here are double and gorgeous, and they kind of just shoot out like little shooting stars. I love how the blooms are more white and the center is more blue. These inner blooms that are blue, that's actually where all of the pollen is. So this nice open structure makes this a pollinator magnet. This is not a compact hydrangea, but it is a very beautiful hydrangea. I would say it's relatively slow growing compared to other hydrangeas. This was planted from a tiny little maybe quart-sized container, and it's been here about 4 years, and it's only this size. Eventually this will have to move, as this is a hydrangea that can get up to 6 feet. But for now, it's gorgeous here, and it was definitely one of those showstoppers in the garden that lots of people commented on and asked me about. So if you're looking for a unique hydrangea that's gorgeous in the garden, look for Fuji Waterfall. I want to throw in 3 bonus shrubs that are not hydrangeas but got a lot of questions and attention in the garden, and share them with you just in case you're looking at a spot in your garden and they might be the perfect thing to fill it. Behind me is Pearl Glam Beauty Berry. This got a lot of attention in the garden, and this isn't even really its full time to shine. It does have a very unique shape and leaf color, so I think that's the reason why it was so popular on the tour. This is a very upright, slender silhouette, which I love in the garden because that means you can cram all the different plants around it. It also has a nice, rich, deep purple leaf, and that is something that always looks good in a garden and blends beautifully with almost every other color. It's in bloom right now, but the blooms are pretty insignificant and small, and the reason why I planted it wasn't for its summer interest, but for its fall interest. In the fall, this will lose all of its leaves and have these electric purple colored berries. The color does not look like it should be created by nature, but it is 100% natural and really, really beautiful. If you're looking for a shrub that you can fit into a small space that might give you a little bit of height without hogging a lot of real estate in a small bed, this is a really fun one to add. I know this looks like a tree, but this is actually a shrub that I've just limbed up and started pruning to be more tree form. Behind me is Vitex or chase tree, and it is absolutely buzzing this time of year. It is 100% the pollinator favorite, and the color of the blooms makes it really stand out in the garden, and I think this was also a favorite amongst garden tour visitors. This is something that I bought as a 1 gallon from Home Depot. It was a tiny itty bitty shrub, and it's likely on its 8th year here, but it grows really, really fast. I think within 3 years, it had already peaked and reached its mature size. This is something that I have to prune on every year to maintain this shape, and I do get a secondary bloom if I prune it back after these blooms are spent. And it really is worth cutting back these blooms because this is something that can reseed throughout your garden or your neighbor's garden or get into nature. I think this is sold as a sterile variety, but it's actually not sterile. So it's best to go ahead and cut those back so that you're not spreading Vitex trees all over your community. This is a very affordable compact tree that you can add to your garden. This, I think, costs $10 and it gives so much impact, so much joy. I love sitting under here and just listening to it buzz this time of year. So if you're looking for something that'll give you a lot of color in full sun, grow like a tree, but stay relatively compact, check out Vitex or Chase Tree. The last shrub that got a lot of attention is this rose. This is Apricot drift rose, and it's one of my favorites because it is so stinking easy. It is a fragrant rose, it is a compact rose, and it is pretty disease resistant. I haven't sprayed these roses almost all season, and I actually rarely spray them, but they're showing very few signs of leaf spots, especially compared to my other roses that are in much better conditions. These are in partial sun. They really should be in full sun, but they perform absolutely beautifully. They rebloom all season, and I don't really have to do anything to them except for cut them back when they're done blooming, and then they just reload and keep blooming. I'm a huge fan of the low maintenance roses because I just don't have the time to putz around the garden as much as I thought I would. And so I really appreciate these types of roses that just kind of take care of themselves. So that wraps up this series. If you missed it, I also posted about the top 5 sun perennials, the top 5 shade perennials, and the top 5 compact trees that people pointed out as they came through the garden tour. As I mentioned before, I had 270 people come through and look at the garden, ask questions, and it was so fun and interesting to meet everyone and to talk to everyone. Like I said before, these are the things that people pointed out and noticed in my garden when they were coming through. I'd love to hear what your favorites are. I love getting inspiration from you and learning about the varieties that you love growing that are making your garden pop off, because somehow there's always a little bit more room to expand borders, to tuck in a few more perennials or shrubs. So I want to end this by saying thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel, and I will see you in the next video.